Align two needles and hold them in your right hand so that one needle is at the top and the other one is at the bottom. Then with your left hand, take the yarn and place it between the needles from back to front so that the yarn tail is at the front of the work. Then move the tail over the top needle, forming a yarn wrap, and this wrap will be the first stitch on the top needle. If you plan to cast on many stitches, then leave a pretty long tail. Just as we do when we cast on stitches using the long tail cast on, place the yarn tail on your left thumb and the working yarn on your left index finger and hold both strands with the rest of your left fingers, like this. We'll cast on stitches in pairs. Because we already have one stitch on the top needle, we need to cast on one stitch on the bottom needle. And we'll always use the top strand, the strand that comes from your index finger, to cast on stitches on the bottom needle, and we'll always use the bottom strand, the one that comes from your thumb, to cast on stitches on the top needle. So it's easy to remember. Top needle, bottom strand, bottom needle, top strand. And we'll always do it in the same way. We'll move the yarn to the bottom of the needle and then over the top of that needle. So to cast on a stitch on the top needle, place the bottom strand between the needles, that would be the bottom of the top needle, and over that needle, like this. To cast on a stitch on the bottom needle, place the top strand to the bottom of the bottom needle and over that needle. And that's about it. So you simply cast on as many stitches as you need. Top needle, bottom strand, over the needle. Bottom needle, top strand, over the needle. Top needle, bottom strand, over the needle. Bottom needle, top strand, over the needle. Once you cast on all stitches that you need for your project, twist the tail and the working yarn to make sure that the last stitch that you cast on does not unravel. Then take the needles in your left hand and work on your first round. If you use one long circular needle and the magic loop technique like I do right now, or if you use two circular needles, then pull the bottom needle to the right and use the tip of that needle to work the stitches on the top needle. So we knit these stitches through the front loop as usual. Simply knit them all one by one. And once you do that, then rearrange the work and work the stitches of the other group. Again, knitting them as usual through the front loop. This method works great for different setups that allow us to work in the round. You can use them if you work with one long circular needle in the magic loop technique like I do right now, or when you work with the two circular needles, even when you work with double pointed needles. But when you work with double pointed needles, make sure you work half of one group of stitches with one needle and the other half with another needle, and you do the same to the other group of stitches, and this way by the end of the first round you will have your stitches evenly distributed between 4 needles. Once you finish your first round, you will see that the cast on edge is not an edge at all. It looks just like a regular row of the fabric. It looks like all knit stitches on the right side of the work and like all purl stitches on the wrong side of the work. As you see, there is no ridge, no difference between the regular fabric and this cast on edge. So it is a great way to cast on stitches for toe-up socks, seamless bags, toys, or any other seamless project that you have in mind. The full tutorial about this technique is at 10roseaday.com/magic-cast on. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.